I went to Seattle, for Kurt's 25th anniversary. I just, as a Nirvana fan, I wanted to be there.
Yeah,
And
I've done that.
yeah, I had the chance to go, so I said, you know what, let's just do it, right?
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I at the time, I mean, there was a lot of Nirvana press going on about a year ago. I think you were sharing a story of how during the day that Kurt passed, or the day that the news came out that he passed, there
Yeah.
was this like crazy media frenzy going on at the radio station. What was that day like for you?
Something big was happening. We want to be part of it. We want to know as much as we possibly can. But there's no internet. There's no email. There's no YouTube. There's none of that sort of stuff. The only thing that people could do to get the latest news on what was happening was to listen to the radio. That was it. And I remember that day being, okay, this is our JFK moment. This is our John Lennon was shot moment. This is our Elvis Presley died moment. Everybody is depending on us to tell them what's going on. And the way things had evolved was this was as close to delivering the messages, the news in real time as we could get. Now, we had a teletype which would spit out the news, from all the different news services. So they were the ones who were gathering the news on our behalf. The only other thing that we could do is get on the phone and call anybody that we might know in Seattle or somebody associated with the band to give us an update on what was going on. And it was really old school. So, at 3:30, Anita, who was my newswoman at the time, came in, handed me the bulletin from the Associated Press, and I read that on the air. And that was like Walter Cronkite taking off his glasses and telling everybody that JFK had died at Parkland Hospital.
That's crazy. And how did that affect you emotionally at all that day? Like, how did you handle that personally?
No, well, you get in a zone. And the zone was, okay, we got a job to do. This is really important. Don't screw it up. Let's be as accurate as we possibly can. And remember that people are depending on us, not any other radio station in the city. Us, and specifically me, because it all happened when I was on the air. So it was me and Anita. And I don't know, I probably have never had a larger audience than I did that day, because news started coming in at 2:00. And then every 10 minutes, Anita would break in with more news. And then I would say something. And so 2:00, 2:15, 2:20, 2:25, 2:45, another newscast at 3:00, 3:15, and then 3:30, there's the news. So for that hour and a half, 2 hours, it was like, wow, because we didn't hear anything. So Kurt was found by the electrician around 9:00 in the morning, Seattle time. So that would have been noon. So by the time everything started to drift out, it took about 90 minutes for the first story to move on the wire, saying that a body has been found at 171 Lake Washington Boulevard East. And that is the residence of Kurt Cobain. There seems to be a violent death. So it's like, okay. All right, we know where this is going. It's either one of Kurt's drug buddies has died, or it's Courtney, or it's Kurt.
I was far too young to have any personal recollection of Kurt's death, but in my lifetime, I remember perfectly Chris Cornell's death. I was in my kitchen, and then on the TV, it said rock star Chris Cornell has passed away, and I was shocked. And then I remember I was driving to work, and then it came on the radio, and I actually just pulled over and for a second to listen to the radio and to hear what they're saying. And I just remember being like kind of shocked by it. Was Chris Cornell's death similar at all in the way you guys handled it on the radio, or did the internet change that experience?
The internet changed the experience because it got out on Twitter first. So everybody was talking about it by the time we got on the air with it, because, well, the internet moves at the speed of light. And the only thing that moves faster than the speed of light is bad news on the internet. So we couldn't compete, because a lot of us, and if we do it right and we use the platform properly, Twitter is the one of the greatest breaking news sources that has ever been invented. That's where I heard about Michael Jackson. So I was coming home from work on the GO train, and I'm flipping through my Twitter feed, and it's like, uh-oh, here it is. And from there, it just exploded.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, I was going to ask you about Chester Bennington, but that was so quickly afterwards. I guess it would have probably been more or less the same kind of.
It was kind of the same thing, but for some reason, well, it was also shocking because Chester seemed to be, I don't know, he just seemed to be such a likable guy. And I think people were, because he was also so very open about his mental state, that a lot of people identified with him, because people who were hurting and so on. So that when he died, there was like, oh no, he couldn't make it. Something happened. Must be a mistake, or he gave up, or man, he must have been in pain. That kind of thing. But it was still the same kind of shocking thing because we didn't expect it. Nobody saw it with both Chris Cornell and with Chester Bennington. Nobody thought.
Do you think that Kurt Cobain's death has made him into more of, I guess, for lack of a better word, a legendary figure than if he was still alive?
Yeah, I think so. Again, he's like Jim Morrison. He's like Jimi Hendrix. He's like Janis Joplin. He, died at that magical age of 27 at the height of his powers.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more because there is a lot more to come. All the videos on my channel are original. I'm the one filming, editing, and conducting all the interviews. So if you guys like what you see and you want to support, the best way to do so is honestly just to subscribe. Thanks for watching.